My name is Sophia. People call me a successful businesswoman today, but I never had enough money to buy a coffee. I grew up in a small town in New Jersey. Our house was made of wood, in which water would drip from the roof during the rainy season, and in winter, cold winds would penetrate through the walls. Papa was a mechanic in the garage, and Mother took care of the house. We were certainly poor, but our family was alive as long as Father was there. But one day everything changed. I was only 14 years old when my father died in a truck accident. That night is still present in my mind. Mother kept crying the whole night, hugging his jacket. By the next morning she had turned to stone. The tears had dried on his face, but the pain was still there. We had no savings. After Father's death, some money was found in the garage, but it was exhausted within a few weeks. House rent, electricity bill, Mother's medicines, everything became a burden. I was just a child, but circumstances made me grow up before my time. I had to leave school. I wanted to study, wanted to become a teacher, but life forced me to leave books and take up broom and mop. An auntie living in our neighborhood got me a job in a rich house. He was counted among the rich people of the city, Mr. and Mrs. Parker. They hired me for cleaning and kitchen work. When I went to that house for the first time, my eyes were dazzled by its splendor. Crystal lights, big mirrors, white carpets, that house was no less than a palace. I felt as if I had entered another world. Mrs. Parker was very strict. If even a spot remained, she would shout loudly. "Sophia! You missed a spot. Do it again." Many times I felt like leaving everything, but Mother's medicines and house rent kept me back. Every night when I returned home tired, Mother would caress my face and say, "Don't give up, son, your time will also come." And I would rise again from there. There was one person in that house who was different, Ethan Parker, their son. He always spoke to me with respect. One day he saw me sitting near the window and writing something. "What are you writing?" he asked. I got scared and quickly hid the copy. But he smiled and said, "Relax. You write very well, you shouldn't have left your studies." For the first time, I told someone about my dreams, that I wanted to study, that I wanted to make something of myself. That same day Ethan gave me an old laptop and said, "When you have a free night, try to learn something from it. The internet can teach you a lot." My life changed that night. I learned from YouTube how to make handmade candles, how to decorate them, how to sell on social media. After work, I would sit in front of the laptop for 3 to 4 hours, sometimes watching videos, sometimes making notes. Gradually, I started making some products and posting them on my Instagram. At first only 2 likes came, Mother and mine. But I didn't stop. Sometimes life makes you start at the bottom, so that when you climb up, you can understand the value of each step. This was my beginning, a broken home, a painful life, and the fire of dreams that had not been extinguished. Sometimes the path to a dream is a long one, but even a small step can light that path. For me, that was the first step, my first candle. Sitting at an old laptop Ethan had given me, I watched candle-making videos, learned about different designs, and ordered a few small supplies online: wax, fragrance oils, coloring powder. I had collected all this money from a few dollars added to my salary. I made the first candle in the kitchen. Placed the vessel on the stove, slowly melted the wax, added the fragrance and then poured it inside the old cup and left it to solidify. When the candle was ready, I picked it up in my hand and looked at it, tears welled up in my eyes. It wasn't just a candle, it was my light of hope. I took a beautiful photo of her and posted it on my Instagram page. Wrote the caption, "Handmade with Heart, by Sophia." Within a few hours Ethan's message came. "This is amazing, Sophia. How much for it?" I smiled. I answered, "It's just a trial piece. He wrote. Then consider this a trial order. Make 5 more, I'll pay. That day I made my first money, just $25, but his happiness was like $1 million. I then started making small orders. Sometimes a gift for a friend, sometimes an order for the neighbor. Every time I put a small card in the packing. Made with Dreams, by Sophia. But there are thorns in the path of every good thing. When Parker came to know that I was now selling the products made by me, he called me. His face was red with anger. We pay you to clean, not to run a business in our house. I was silent. But Ethan spoke on my behalf. She does her job perfectly. What she does after hours is none of our business. Mrs. Parker glared at Ethan, then looked at me contemptuously. Girls like you should know their place. My heart hurt that day, but my resolve became stronger. I knew that if I wanted to make my way, every taunt, every insult would have to be taken as a stepping stone. Now I spend 2 to 3 hours every night making products, packing them and keeping them ready for delivery in the morning. Gradually my followers started increasing on Instagram. Ethan made and posted a short video of me melting and packing the wax. Thousands of likes came on it. Then one day I got a message from a stranger woman. Hi Sophia, I run a local gift store. Would you like to keep your candles on consignment? I read that message again and again. I did not understand what consignment is. Ethan explained. This means that she will keep your candles in her store and will pay you when they are sold. That became my first shop, Lily's Boutique. That day, for the first time, I was seeing something I had made in a shop, displayed on a shelf, with my name on it, Sophia's Candles. I would go there every week with my packets, and when a customer picked up my candle, my heart would beat faster. Mother's health was improving somewhat, because now money for medicines was available on time. One evening, when I returned home tired from work, Mother caressed my head and said, "Your father would have been very proud of you today." I burst into tears. I was still a maid, but now I was on my way to becoming the girl of my dreams. Now my small business started growing slowly. The demand for my candles was increasing at Lily's Boutique. Some people had also started ordering online. I had turned my kitchen into a workshop, a broom and bucket on one side, and wax, oil and glass jars on the other. Ethan always helps me. Sometimes in packaging, sometimes in making social media posts. She also helped me open my store on Etsy. Now you are not just the town's artist, but the whole of America's artist, Sophia. I laughed, but there was also fear inside. Will I really be able to do this? One day a big retailer lady came to Lily's shop. Her name was Amanda Reyes. He bought my candles and said, "These have a soul. I want you to create a custom scent line for my boutique in New York." I remained numb. New York. Sophia, a maid, was now going to work for some high-end boutique in New York. Ethan jumped with joy. "You did it, girl." I gathered courage and said yes. But where success comes, jealousy also follows. Mrs. Parker was now beginning to feel irritated by my success. One day he called me and said, "You are getting too distracted. Either you work here properly, or leave." I was stunned. I did my work with full honesty every day. But now he was not liking my getting up. I replied politely, "Ma'am, I've always respected this job. But I have dreams too." He rolled his eyes and said, "Dreams? Girls like you don't get to dream. Remember your place, boss." That day I understood that some people are not afraid of your poverty, but of your courage. I left work. This was my biggest fear, losing my job. But now I wanted to live by my dreams, not by fear. I told Mother. She remained silent for a few moments, then said, Son, now you have to make your own path. Don't be afraid. I am with you. Now I started focusing on my candles the whole day. Ethan got me a small rented space that used to be a bakery. I put a small board there. Sophia's Soul Scents, handmade candles with dreams inside. I made my first 100 candles, for Amanda's store. When she decorated candles in a New York boutique, her post went viral on social media. People started asking, "Who is this Sophia? Where did she come from?" And the answer was, she is a girl who started with a broom and is now making light. I was no longer a maid. Now I had become a brand. But the road was not over yet, there was still a lot left to do. I never thought that my voice would be heard on any stage. I just melted my pain into candles, and lit up the world. The demand for my candles from Amanda's boutique was increasing. Now people were sharing my products on Instagram, Etsy, and TikTok. It was written on every candle. Handmade by Sophia, from struggle to strength. One day I got a mail. We are organizing a women entrepreneurs panel in Los Angeles. We'd be honored to have you as a speaker. I was stunned. Me? Who used to mop other people's floors? Ethan looked at me and said, "Yes, you. Because your story deserves to be heard." I prepared to go to LA. I didn't have any special clothes to wear, but Lily gifted me a dress and said, "You don't need a crown to look like a queen. Just walk in with your truth." When I reached the panel, women from big companies were sitting in front of me, CEOs, founders, investors. My hands were trembling while holding the mic, but there was only one thing in my heart. I will not lie, I will only tell the truth. I said, "My name is Sophia. I was once a maid. I cleaned toilets, swept floors, and listened to people's taunts. But one day I made my first candle. It wasn't just wax, it was the light of my broken hopes." The whole hall was quiet. I further said, "People used to say, you were born just to clean. But I cleared the way by cleaning myself, and where I am today is the result of my mother's blessings and my hard work." The applause was so loud that I had tears in my eyes. That day, for the first time, I felt that my story was no longer just mine, it had now become the voice of thousands of girls. Many reporters came after the panel. I was interviewed. Headlines were, "From Maid to Maker, Sophia's journey of grit and grace. She cleaned floors, now she lights up lives. Mother was very ill now. Doctors said that if treatment is not done quickly, it may get delayed. I now had some money, but the treatment was very expensive. I gave all that money without thinking. If I did all this, it was only for Mother." Ethan stayed with me everywhere. He took me to meet investors to expand the business. Now my brand was registered with the name Soul Scents by Sophia. One day I was working in my workshop, when Ethan came and said, "Someone wants to meet you." When I came out, an elderly woman was standing there. She said, "I'm Mrs. Parker's sister. I read about you, and I'm embarrassed that my sister ever let you down." My lips trembled, but I said, "I have forgiven them. Because if they had not broken me, I might never have been able to rebuild myself. I was no longer just a girl, I had become hope." Some stories are not written in books, they live in the hearts of people. My story has now become a reason to wipe someone's tears, give courage to someone and make someone live again. Mother's treatment was successful. I saw him coming out of the hospital where only relatives of senior citizens used to come. There was a glow in Mother's eyes, and the same calmness on her face, as if the fatigue of years had gone away. Ethan looked at me and smiled. "Now you have everything, Sophia. What next?" I thought a little and said, "Now I have to give you what I never got, a chance." I started a foundation, Sophia's Light. Where women doing domestic work get a chance to study. They were given training to convert their skills into business. And most importantly, respect was given. I started my first workshop in the same city where I once mopped floors. A few months later I was called for the City Women's Award. That ceremony was taking place in the same hotel where I once worked. Mrs. Parker's house. This time I was not in uniform, but in an elegant dress. People were standing and clapping. Announcement happened. And the woman who turned struggle into strength, Sophia Carter. I went on stage. I had that award in my hand, but that old scene was flashing in my eyes. I was sitting on the floor, slippers broken, and forehead wet with sweat. I picked up the mic and said, I was a maid. But dreams are not dependent on any job. I was made to feel small, but now I stand up for every girl who the world said she can't do. Today I say, you can do it. Because dreams have no caste, no class, no condition, all you need is courage. The applause was not stopping. Mrs. Parker was also sitting there with her head bowed. I went to him, held his hand and said, Thank you. Because of you, I found me. Today, Soul Sense by Sophia is sold in 18 cities across America. My team consists of 32 women, mostly those who once cleaned other people's houses. Now she is running her household, sending her children to school, and most importantly, now she is not afraid of anyone. I am no longer a maid. I am a story. Who tells every girl that you are no less than a queen.